Yahoo Fantasy Baseball 2010 Week 14 in the Tucson Toros group. This is your Tucson Toros quick take. Twice as nice knocked off Waveland and Sheffield 6-3-1 to remain undefeated in the 2010 season. Twice as nice shattered records for homers, runs, and RBIs this week. Hit 23 home runs as a team, 56 runs and 60 RBIs. Made it a pretty much cakewalk on the offensive side in this battle. The team hit 324 from the plate. Waveland did try to save face, though, here, taking 3 out of 5 on the pitching side. But some of these offensive numbers were just ungodly. 7 players hit homers. 6 of those had multiple home runs this week. 5 players hit over 400. Buster Posey had 5 home runs, 14 RBIs, and a .556 average. Adam Dunn had 5 homers, 10 RBIs, and a .455 average. Aramis Ramirez, 4 homers, 10 runs, 9 RBIs, and a .429 average. And then 5 category star Carl Crawford had 4 homers, 9 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 8 runs, and a .379 average. Again, we did say Waveland tried to save face on the pitching side, anchored by Felix Hernandez with a win, 15 Ks, and a 1.69 ERA. But the story here was really twice as nice as offense. Just unheard of record numbers that have never been met previously and may never be met again. This was a week for the ages for sure. In other action, AG Padres knocked off the Androids 10-0 in a total sweep, moving AZ Padres into the top 6 in the standings with the decisive victory. The pitching battles were really close in this one. The offense really not that close. Some really unusual sources of offense for AZ Padres. Andres Torres hit 3 home runs this week, and Ben Zobrist turned in 5 stolen bases. Throw in an all-star performance from Adrian Gonzalez, who hit 2 homers and averaged .435 from the dish, and you got yourself the makings for a sweep. Androids used just 7 of the 10 offensive slots available, too, so really not competitive on the offensive side without the full lineup available. On the pitching side, 4 pitchers for AZ Padres had a 0 ERA. Josh Johnson led the way there with a win and 8 Ks on top of that 0 ERA. Androids turned in 3 really good pitching performances from David Price, Javier Vasquez, and Ubaldo Jimenez, but it still wasn't enough as AG Padres put all the pieces together in 1 week for the total sweep of Androids. In other action, Greek Thunder finally knocked off one of the top 7 teams in the league, knocking off Hunt 1981 7-3. It's the first time Greek's beaten any of the teams in the top 7 in the league, sweeping the offensive categories here, while Hunt did manage to take 3 out of 5 on the pitching side. For Greek, the offensive all-star was Joey Votto, 3 homers and a .333 average. Chris Young then chipped in 3 stolen bases. 7 players for Greek hit .250 or better, so pretty good from the dish from an average perspective as well. Hunt's offense is countered with 6 players hitting home runs. None of those players managed more than just 1 homer for the week, though. On the pitching side, a couple of all-star performances there. Leo Nunez had 3 saves and a 0 ERA, and Tim Lincecum found his groove with a win, 10 Ks, and a 1.29 ERA. Greek did manage to take the saves category, though. 7 saves as a team. Joaquim Soria with 3 saves and a 0 ERA. But the lone pitching win on this staff was from Matt Garza this week. Nobody else was able to pick up a victory for Greek Thunder in that category. Jimmy Dugan knocks off the Metropolitans 6-4 to pick up the win there. Dugan took 3 out of 5 on offense and in pitching. The offensive battles were pretty tight, pitching not so much. An ugly battle in the ERA category, though. Dugan wins the category with an ERA of 5.29. The offensive all-star for Jimmy Dugan, though, was Angel Pagan with 6 home runs, 4 stolen bases, and a .462 average. 3 players managed to hit over 400 for Dugan, while 3 hit under 200, led by Ronnie Paulino with 2 RBIs and a 100 average for the week. For Metropolitans, Lance Berkman had 4 home runs, 6 RBIs, and a 400 average, but 5 players hit under 200 this week, including Jason Bay, who had just 3 RBIs and a 105 average for the week. On the pitching side, Dugan had 6 winning pitchers, with John Axford leading the way, 2 victories and a save out of the Brewers bullpen. 3 pitchers hit double-digit Ks for the week, while Metropolitans used Billy Wagner for 3 saves and a 0 ERA, but had Scott Kazmir's dismal 2 performances, 15.88 ERA for the week, gave up 13 earned runs on Saturday alone. Another action, Grassy Knoll knocks off Bronx Bombers as expected, 6-2 to 2. Knoll's now won 7 straight weeks, while Bombers has now lost 6 straight weeks. Knoll took offense 4-1, took pitching 2-1 and 2. The batting average category was really close, 290 to 289 in favor of Knoll. These two teams did, though, tie in the win column 1-1. Bombers had Ben Sheets for a victory, Knoll had Colby Lewis for a victory, and nobody else picked up wins here. All the pitching categories were really close. Saves was also as a tie. But the offensive beast for Knoll made the difference. Carlos Quinton had 6 home runs, 11 RBIs, and a .538 average. And Matt Holliday chipped in 5 homers and 12 RBIs. While not competing was Bronx Bombers, using just 7 of the 10 offensive slots to really not put up a fight at all. Otis and the Drunks Otis and the Drunks tied Lucky 5-5. Otis did, though, set a season best in the ERA category with an ERA of 1.01, an excellent performance from a team that was averaging over 5 in the ERA category every week to this point. Lucky, though, with the tie, did snap a 7-week losing streak by taking 4 out of 5 on the offensive category, in the offensive categories, and then Otis turning around and taking 4 out of 5 in pitching. 9 of the battles were really close in this one, though. Lucky took offense using just 8 of the 10 slots. 5 of those 8 players hit homers this week. But Mark Teixeira for Otis was huge this week. Otis used Mark Teixeira for 4 homers, 7 RBIs, 8 runs, and a .379 average. The rest of the team managed just 2 home runs as a team. Otis had 5 players steal a base, so spreading the wealth on the base path, but 5 players also hit under 200 for the week. On the pitching side, 5 winning pitchers for Otis. As we said, an excellent pitching performance. 5 pitchers turned in an ERA of 0 this week. Lucky tried to counter with CC Sabathia's 2 victories, 11 Ks, and a 1.23 ERA for the week, but also turned in 3 pitchers with an ERA of over 10. Jabba Chamberlain, Chad Qualls, and George Sherrill, who have struggled all season long and continued to do so. Tucson's Prettiest knocked off Derek Lowe equals Cheater 5-3 to 2 in a tight one. Tucson's Prettiest has now won 3 straight, all of those wins against teams outside the top 12. Tucson's Prettiest took offense 3-1-1 and then split pitching 2-2-1. Got homers from 8 players this week. 6 players, though, hit under 200. Hit 200 or worse for the week. Vlad Guerrero had 2 homers this week, only hit 192. Matt Kemp turned in 5 stolen bases, only hit 179. But the pitching was pretty good for Prettiest as well. Johan Santana had 2 wins, 10 Ks, and a 0 ERA. But you also had some bad performances. 4 pitchers had an ERA of 6 or higher. Cheater countered that with Gavin Floyd's 2 victories, 8 Ks, and a 1.23 ERA. But also had Tyler Clippard's 54 ERA and 9 WHIP. And wrapping up the field, Koufax's revenge knocked off Woodla's 7-2-1 this week. Koufax has now won 2 straight weeks, first winning streak of the season for Koufax, while Woodla's has now lost 4 in a row. Koufax swept the offensive side. Pitching was a 2-2-1 split down the middle. The all-star for Koufax on offense, Carlos Gonzalez, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and a .519 average. Woodla's is only using 6 players on the offensive side, so really not much competition there. On the pitching side, Koufax had Roy Halladay's excellent week, a win, 16 Ks, and a 0.5 ERA, but the rest of the pitching staff just 15 Ks and 2 pitchers with an ERA of 13 or more. Next week is Week 15 in the league. It's going to be a short week. All-Star week in Major League Baseball means that this week in fantasy baseball, you're only going to get credit for games Thursday through Sunday, so just 4 days of action is going to decide everything. In these battles, it's going to be really tight all across the board. Some of these teams could really surprise somebody this week. And 3rd through 9th in the standings, separated by just 6 games. You're going to look at twice as nice, putting that undefeated streak on the line against the only team that team has not faced this season, Jimmy Dugan, who sits 4th in the standings. 5th place Hunt and AZ Padres in 6th, separated by just half a game, are going to take each other on this week. 7th and 8th, Otis and the Drunks and Waveland and Sheffield, separated by just a game. They're going to play each other this week. Then a couple of other matchups. Grassy Knoll, 2nd in the standings, going to try to make up some ground, taking on last place Woodla's. Greek Thunder's 3rd in the standings, going to take on 14th place Bronx Bombers. The Metropolitans is 9th right now, going to take on 12th place Androids. 11th place Koufax's Revenge is going to take on 13th place Derek Lowe equals Cheater. And Tucson's Prettiest is 10th right now in the standings, going to take on 15th place Lucky in Week 15 action. So we'll hope to see you back next Monday for a recap of the short week, Week 15, in the Tucson Toros group.